I had some friends mention to me a couple weeks back that the only reason they would ever watch this movie is if the filmmakers put Christian Bale's tirade in the middle of this film for 4 minutes. Now, while I think that's an interesting concept, it actually wouldn't be out of place in this film.
What don't you fucking understand?
I don't understand why you had to do your best Dark Knight impersonation this whole film.
What don't you get about it?
So for anyone who is a Terminator fan, you know what the basis of this film is. The year is 2018. Humans now live in a post-apocalyptic society after Judgment Day, where over 3 billion people died. The story follows John Connor, played by Christian Bale, who is right now simply a soldier of the Resistance, but he was told, of course, when he was a child, that he was going to grow up to be the leader of the Resistance. So the main body of the story is Christian Bale fighting the machines. However, there's also a small side plot to this film. A guy by the name of Marcus Wright, who is played by Sam Worthington, is sentenced to death in 2003, but before he dies, he signs his body away to Cyberdyne, which is, of course, a company that works with Skynet, which is, of course, the machines. Now, after he's put to death in 2003, he wakes up in 2018 in this post-apocalyptic world, so he has no idea what's happening. But shortly after waking up, he meets a boy named Kyle Reese, who many people may know is John Connor's father from the first Terminator film. So of course the two plots come together as one eventually, but that is the basis for this film. Now, I do have a few big criticisms of this film, but first let me start off with something good. The action scenes in this film were great. They really were good. There's a chase scene in the middle of this film which runs for about 9 to 10 minutes, and it was phenomenal. Also, the last 20 to 25 minutes of this film absolutely kick ass. It is so much fun to watch. So, from a pure action lover standpoint, this film is pretty good. Now, in between those big action scenes, there is a lot of downtime. But when that action kicks back in, you are on the edge of your seat. You are loving it. However, this is where my big criticism comes in. Outside of the action, this film almost has nothing going for it. Besides the actors and actresses, who all do a pretty good job, I was surprised by that, there's nothing going for this film as far as plot or dialogue. There are several plot holes in this film towards the end, but again, I don't want to give them away because, as you know, I don't like to give away spoilers to films, so I'm not going to give away the plot holes for this film, but there are some pretty big ones. Also, one thing really confused me with this film. John Connor's wife is played by Bryce Dallas Howard, which, by the way, I think she is a phenomenal actress. Ever since I saw her in The Village, I have had a huge crush on her. I think she is by far one of the most attractive actresses in Hollywood. And she does do a good job in this film. However, if you removed her character from this movie, the movie would be exactly the same. She in no way influences either of the two plots I mentioned before. So why is she in the film? I know John Connor has to have a wife. They set that up in Terminator 3. However, if you removed her from this film, there wouldn't be any difference. Whenever she's on screen, all she does is give exposition. This thing is something we've never seen before. We need to capture one of the smaller machines in order to test this radio wave. John, this machine is making you question everything you've believed. All she's doing is giving exposition. Why? She is a fine actress, and you just have her explaining plot? And as I mentioned, there is a lot of downtime in between the big action scenes. And frankly, during those parts, I was bored out of my mind. I was just sitting there, and the movie felt really long. Like, I thought this movie was running for about 2.5 hours because the little bit of time in between the action scenes just drug on and on. While I didn't have high expectations going into this movie, I was expecting a little bit more out of it because it was a Terminator film. And every Terminator film I've seen, with the exception of Terminator 3, I've really enjoyed. And while I didn't think Terminator 3 was great, I still had a good time with it. I didn't really have a good time with this film. It was quite boring at times, Some of the dialogue was bad, some of the plot was bad, and there were whole characters that didn't need to be in the film. So, final rating. I really want to give this film a low rating. However, while that action was going on, the film was good. So from a pure action lover standpoint, this is a good film. I'm going to give this film 2.5 stars. If you go into this film just looking for balls to the wall action, you'll like it. However, if you put an ounce of thought into any of the plot or the dialogue, I guarantee you will not like this film. But however, if you are a Terminator fan, you're probably going to enjoy this film no matter what. Because a lot of Terminator fans have been wanting to see this war between the humans and the machines for a long time, ever since that first Terminator film. So a lot of people have been waiting to see this, and you'll probably enjoy it no matter what. So now that I've given this film a mediocre review, I'm sure Skynet's going to start sending in their T-800s any second to, beat the living hell out of me. But, Judgment Day hasn't occurred yet, so I should be okay. Ah, crap. Well, take care.